Howdy. Welcome to another Saturday TeleDynes Hangout here on YouTube. Got the Phoenix today. Switch it up a little bit. Looks like my monitor got twisted. So, play a little bit. Hi guys, how you doing? Cambridge. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining. Yeah, doing pretty good today. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks, man. Yeah, this is just plugged. For those streams, I just do um, like an amp mod thing through Pro Tools, but for the videos, I actually use the 63 bassman that you're hearing through all of those videos, and usually the mystery brain is the delay pedal that's being used all the time. What's new? Not really too much this week, other than got a couple of I haven't been able to get to recording the next videos yet. I've been working on the tablature for them, but I'm recording the videos tomorrow. So I've got two of them actually. I'm doing at the same time. So I'll do Rockabilly Boogie, which I've been talking about for a couple weeks now, and I finally got that tab going, finished, and then Honey Don't, Carl Perkins. I figured I'm sure there are videos on that one. I tried to find some info on Rockabilly Boogie, but I found a couple things. There's a couple videos out there, people playing a little bit, and everybody goes over the first solo, the you know whatever, and of course the lick. But nobody ever talks about the third solo, which is just kind of just the low string. And it's like this quick little, and then he goes. Not much to it, but uh, but it's still worth going over. So that'll be fun. That's always that's a fun tune. And then Honey Don't is just pretty straightforward. Got that C chord in there, so makes it a little bit different than a lot of the tunes back then. Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, and then after that, I'm not sure exactly, but somebody had asked for, I think I'd mentioned it last week. Somebody had asked for Two Hip Gotta Go by the Stray Cats, and um, what the other one was, but it was I think it was might have been a Louis Jordan number, and a Roy Orbison number. That would be good. Besides, there's always besides Ooby Dooby or whatever. There's another one I can't. There's Rock House. Just try to find, touch on all the greats from the era. Buddy Holly would be another one I would like to do. I'm sure there's plenty of videos of playing that. That'll be the day or something like that. But Blue Days Black Nights, that would be a good one. That's more of a rockabilly sound, I feel. Choo Choo Chaboogie. Yep, I did that one sort of. I didn't cover the whole tune. Um, I just did the because the song is just goes around with that 1 4 5 and F. It just has those horn lines played by the saxes, but Billy Lee Riley. Yeah, we could do that definitely. And you had mentioned like doing a video about Danny Gatton licks. I'll have to compile a bunch of some cool riffs together and just do a video on that. That'd be fun. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I got this. Do have I have the tablature here. I was gonna show everybody what I got here for Rock Billy Boogie. Um, so this, and of course, I'll put this on the website too when the video goes up. I just like to go through it as I'm recording it, just to make sure I got it right. I've had to change some things here and there. I put it up, upload it, and go, "Oop, that wasn't right," and have to change the file. But that's fine. Looks like I didn't make the tablature yet for this intro thing. It's actually a pretty simple thing to do. I just kind of let's see if it works. Doesn't always work. You copy and paste it down here. So I usually write the notes first, and then I will transfer to the tablature over, which is that. See, it got it wrong. I mean, not technically. It's one way to play it, and I don't know exactly. I couldn't really find any live videos of the Rock and Roll Trio playing this song. You can find like Train Kept a Rollin' or whatever, but you can't really find this one. So I guess you could do. I don't know if that's if he's doing it like that, or I believe that I would think it would be like this, only because you hear later he's doing these octaves. But to me, it's more comfortable. And you can definitely hear him go up to B flat, like a whole power chord there, late in the third solo. Just kind of weird, but it works. It's cool. So I have to change it. So you have to click on it and like bring it down. You got to click on the note first. Bring it down. Arrow keys. That's really all there is to it. How to play through a towel? Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. I'm sure that if you're depressing a string, whatever you're doing, it's gonna, even if you're through a piece of material. It's funny. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and finish this real quick, and did it again. Sometimes it doesn't even get close to right, and I have to write Apparently, it's not the best thing for tablature, but it's what I got. So yeah, I think the best one is the Guitar Pro 8. I think they're up to now. That one looks pretty cool. I'll probably switch over to that at some point, but for now, I'll just I'll just deal with this. About 20 years been playing. I started playing guitar when I was 15, just about to turn 16. So it was 90. I started in 98, and I didn't get into rockabilly right away. I got into the Beatles first. That's what I'm not sure. He might have covered it, but yeah, I got into the Beatles first, and then went through Zeppelin and got into all of that, the classic rock stuff that we call it classic rock now, and of course, in taking guitar lessons, everybody teaches you. Everybody starts out with, uh, you know, Purple Haze or Whole Lot of Love. I think was the first tune that my guitar teacher wanted to wanted to teach me. I think because it's just he was trying to get the concept of learning a pentatonic scale to play over something to understand the concept of improvisation and soloing. And since Whole Lot of Love, for the most part, is just over one chord, it was an easy thing to kind of get started with. um, yeah, then I got into rockabilly when I wanted to go back and find the influences of Beatles, Zeppelin, and everything, and that of course led me to Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent and Bill Haley and all of that stuff. And I had listened to it as a kid anyway because my parents listened to it growing up, so I was already familiar with it, having heard a lot of it before, and then really started paying attention to the guitar playing. And I remember getting a CD. It was 50s, the greatest guitar songs of the 50s, and it had bunch of a bunch of different things on there, like Twitchy, um, Rock a Beat and Boogie by Bill Haley, Blue Days, Black Nights, Buddy Holly. Um, Favorite double stop licks to play? Um, I mean, really standard stuff. Like I love doing this. Just that's always fun, or those that kind of stuff. Or one of them, kind of half and half, mostly a double stop thing. When you go to the four, you hear. When you're on the five, you can do something like that. Go back to the one. If there's any others? Um, there's a couple of it's back and forth. Like you can do a couple pedal steel things, like something like that on a turnaround. Um, that's a fun one to play. That it's almost like that you can't catch me down here actually. Those are fun. The Chuck Berry stuff. That's uh that's always fun to break out. And it's nice, when you're soloing, you can just kind of jump all around. So you can be doing that and then flip it up and you know whatever you want to do. And that's always a good thing. Um, Keeping the thumb going, kind of just kind of playing around with, especially if you're an E, kind of working A, but he's easy a lot easier. Do stuff like that. Oh, double talking baby. That was whoa. I still haven't worked that out. Why it does that? Um, Double talking baby. What is it? Something like that. Yeah, it's a cool sound. You keep that going, and just kind of mess around with, especially like at the end of a song or something when you're just kind of droning. You're just kind of staying on the same chord, just play the same chord out. A couple of tunes that I don't really play them anymore. I used to play them. Not really a rockabilly tune. It's kind of, I don't know what it would it be considered, country maybe. Graham Parsons, Ooh Las Vegas has that dead thumb, yeah, kind of palm muting thing. It's just kind of droning back there, so it's not it's not like a perfect thumb pick kind of thing. Yeah, that Graham Parsons tune where it's kind of like, and then at the end of it, at least live, we just hang on the E and we wouldn't and would just solo out, and everyone would take, like, play with other guitar players or whatever. Everybody would have like a solo and go around for whatever, bounce back and forth, jam out for a little bit. But yeah, tempos like that, like, I like a lot of the finger picking stuff too, along with the double stops like that, where you can go from the 1 to the 4. You're going up to the, or stay on the 1, doesn't matter. If you're here, and if you're doing a 2-beat kind of thing, and then you go, you're going to the 4, you can go, or just stay on the 1. And you can do that in sort of in any key, wherever you want to do it, or like that. Kind of pedal steel-ish sounds, mixed around with flat picking and some jazz licks and everything else, and kind of throw it and mix it together, and it's fun, especially if the swings, the 2 beats, and the 2-beat stuff. It's a lot of fun to play over. You can kind of, it all works together and blends together nicely. Where I find with straight rock stuff, also fun to play, just feels, it's probably just me, but it just feels a little bit more constrained, in the improv side of things. You ever mess about with any pedals in private? Pedals? Different pedals? Oh yeah, I mean, I've let's see. I haven't really done too much with pedals. I've tried, um, of course, like a distortion, like a tube screamer kind of thing. Had a blues driver for a little while. Um, I had, what did I had octave. I have one of those. I still have that one. I have one of those octave Boss pedals. Um, that's kind of weird. It's kind of cool. you could it's more of just an effect and a toy really than anything because you can't play chords with it. But then there's what else did I? Oh, a wah pedal. I had a crybaby for a while, and then something I got it used, and then it broke. I don't know what happened. It wasn't the string or anything, or the that's not a string. That's the volume pedals have the string. I have one of those Ernie Ball volume pedals. I thought maybe I would be able to use it with to do like pedal steel licks to get that kind of the swell, you know. But it ended up just getting in the way, and you'd always have to remember make sure you push that pedal all the way down. Like, why is my guitar too quiet? It's like, oh, the pedal. And what else was there? Did I have anything else crazy? I do. I might get another wah pedal. Those are kind of fun. But the other problem I had with them, at least with my rig, now this was before I had the mystery brain or the actual space echo thing. Maybe it would be better. But the wah pedal, it would always get a little too, I don't know, bright on some of it, and it would be piercing and kind of, it wasn't pleasant sounding at all. Um, and it might sound better through a different amp. I do have a hot rod, Fender hot rod deluxe that's really loud. um, because normally I don't. I have it here. Yeah, I don't have it here. With these things, the nice thing about these combos, the not combos, the separate head and the cab, is that a lot of places that you have to play, you can't be loud, and you have to you can't really you can't really play a small amplifier and get the same sound. I mean, you can, but I've always tried, like I've tried Princeton's before and smaller things like that. But what happens is that you'll end up pushing it so much because it will it's too quiet. So trying to find something in the middle, and then you try to get like a deluxe, a Fender deluxe, and that's too loud, and then you have to turn it down to the point where you lose all the touch sensitivity and everything else. So you can get kind of an extra volume control that goes into the in between on the effects loop part of the amplifier, and that helps a little bit where you can turn the drive channel on if you've got one of those or whatever, and or crank the master all the way up, and then just bring up the volume, and then use this extra thing. It functions sort of like an attenuator, but it's not really a power soaker. So, but with these things, when it's separated, you can use the THD hot plates, which is what I use when I run these things. You have to, otherwise, if I took that thing off, it would blow the roof off of half the places I play. I remember even playing Hard Rock Live once, and I thought, oh well, this is massive theater. I don't need to run this attenuator. It's like, nope, I still needed to run it. It was so loud, and part of that was I was using 6L6s, the tubes, the power tubes in that, and they were. I was told those, you can use them, but they're super hot. It really pushes and drives the amplifier, drives the amp really loud. So I switched to the 5881 tongue saw, and that quieted the amp down quite a bit and allowed it still gives you the tone, breaks up a little sooner, and you don't have to crank it and go too crazy. But I still have to use the hot plate, and that's a great thing to do. Now you can. I had a Vox AC30 for a while, Beatles fan, right? So I had I had the setup. I had the Tennessee 74 Tennessean, and I had a Vox AC30. But when I got into rockabilly and I started playing, I tried to use that setup. I hadn't really played too much at this point with other bands. It didn't really work. It sounded like a tin, like a like hollow, almost like a garbage can. Like I don't know, it just didn't sound right. And I thought, was it the guitar? Is it the amp? I was like, this is a Vox AC30. This has got to sound good, but it just didn't sound great. And I had a crate amplifier um, that I'd had before, and that sounded better with with the Tennessean. So I ended up and then I finally got this 63 Bassman shortly after that and sold the other things, and I haven't looked back since. And then I ended up finding another 60. I found a 60. This was a 64, and then I found a 63 later. Um, yeah, they're great. That was the other thing I found with the Voxes is that maybe the older ones were better, but this was a newer one at the time, so it could be that it it could have been that because they start putting circuit boards in the amplifiers. I don't forget when exactly, 80s, 90s, and those old point to point wiring amps are just they're consistent. Every time I go and I play with the basement, it sounds the same when I play with this basement out. With the AC30, it would sound different depending on the room that I was in, and I could never get a consistent sound with it. And the crate was similar in that regard, but at least it was a little cleaner. Um, so yeah, that was that's the story on that amp. I'll have to mention that in the video, the THD hot plates. You can. I did that with the AC30. You can get the head separated from the cab and add a cable, which I ended up doing with the Vox, and I thought that would help, but it didn't really do too much. I was able to drive it a little bit more, but still sounded boxy. I guess that's the term people use. So sounded great on Beatles songs, but not much else. Probably would sound good if I had used pedals and got more into that, but I just never really got into it. Probably because of the singing. Sing 90% of the material when we play. So to sing and play and having to worry about all of these pedals at your feet and everything, it's just that little. See if it's sitting up. That pedal board, massive pedal board for just a few pedals. I had more on there, but yes, it is a match made in heaven. I've heard that. I forget who said it. Maybe it was Setzer. I'm not sure. Um, that the a lot of amplifiers, of course, are open back, and the Bassman, being a bass amplifier, technically, um, is closed back. So the Gretsch being a hollow body, being kind of a round sound, it gets compressed a lot. The sound gets compressed a lot more, so it gets shoved through a narrower kind of sonic pathway, and it works great with the Gretsch. And the Tele sounds good too. You know, that sounds great as well. Little high end. I have to change the settings a bit. I got to turn the presence knob down and turn the treble down a little bit. It's a little piercing uh, if you don't make those adjustments. At least mine anyway, and the Strat that I have too. Same thing. I had a Gibson for a while that I had a Lucille early on, sold it, and then I bought a what was it? A studio, one of those Les Paul, just basic studio guitars, and I didn't have it very long. I used it for one tour, so to speak, kind of 1 year when I was doing an album with an old band back in Florida, like 2006, seven, something like that. Um, and I tried to use it live and tried to do something different and a little more bluesy rock and stuff, and it just wasn't me. I felt like, this isn't me. So sold that and pretty much just stick with Gretsch these days. Although I do have the Telly, so I do like those. Not opposed to trying other things, just haven't found anything at this point that is really, you know, really excites me. But plus, I love having the Bigsby too. Even the Telly has a Bigsby. All right. All right. Well, no, just kind of hanging out today. I'm gonna try to get that video out this week and shoot them both, record them both at the same time. Should be able to get the other one out. The bottleneck for me is always getting the tab. So the carbonite, carbonite. I'm sorry, not carbonite. Carbonite. That sounded Star Wars. Uh, uh, Carbonita. That what it is? No, I never heard of that. Oh, I have tried one. Yes. Um, that was I forget when it was back when I worked at Rudy's Music Stop in New York. They had one there, and I played it for a little bit. Never played it live, but I always thought that was a cool thing to do. Somebody actually brought in what's the uh, I'm really bad with the names of the guitars, unless it's the Gretsch, of course. The Gibson. It's Epiphone. Everyone always has the Epiphone version, but it's the yes and no. I mean, there it is. Um, yes and no. I mean, there are times where I did it first when I moved away, but I kind of moved away for the same reasons that I moved there. So um, it was the hustle and bustle of it was great at first, and then eventually it's just you. In order to survive in New York, you have to work constantly, and you never really you're just exhausted all the time, and you don't really get a chance to enjoy the stuff. You think, oh, you moved there, I'm going to do all these things, and then you get there and you don't have time to do anything, and you're exhausted on your day off, and you don't you don't ever really engage in any too much of the culture. I did a little bit. I mostly went. I lived in Brooklyn, so Williamsburg, so I would always go to Union Pool or um, something like that, or one Alligator Lounge or Crocodile Lounge. Both of those. One's in Manhattan on 14th, or at least it used to be. I don't know what's there anymore. I'd go to Otto's, Shrunken Head, quite a bit. Usually see bands there. I did play there once, just before I left. It was like a farewell kind of thing for me. But I tried to get some other gigs. I played in the subway. Did the busking thing once, just to say I did it, and it was fun. But I like having a car, and I'd never had a car, so I just would take the subway everywhere because you don't really need one. I moved there August 2001. Yeah, I moved there in 2008 and left in 2009. I was only there for about a year, and it was mostly due to just job loss, and Rudy's downsized, and then they ended up closing and moving to Soho, and then I think they're gone completely. And then I worked at Circuit City. I think I said that before, and they went. Everybody knows they're gone, so I was just like, okay, time to move on. But yeah, that Gibson I was talking about was the Gibson, the 295, the ES 295. This guy. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of great acts down in the subway. This thing. Who's my favorite non rockabilly guitar player? Probably Tommy Emmanuel. I'd have to go with him. Although, if we're going back into the era, I mean, there's so many. I mean, when thinking contemporary, I'd have to say Tommy Emmanuel. If I go back further, maybe Django Reinhardt, Charlie Christian, um, T-Bone Walker. You know, yeah. So this guy, somebody brought this in like a shell of it. It was black though. It wasn't gold, and they wanted to put some kind of pickup in it, and they didn't know what they didn't want these. They didn't want these P90s, and I said, okay, well, they were thinking about some sort of humbucker, so I convinced him to put the Filtertrons in there, and that sounded pretty good. I think he bought it was the TV Jones, just standard whatever was back then. So this was 2008, so they didn't have some of the stuff they have now. But the hardest thing finding rockabilly stuff even then was is stuff for the bass, the upright bass, miking those things, getting the right pickup and everything is a hassle. There's more resources now, but even 10 years ago, it was difficult. Yeah. How important is theory? Um, Basically, that's the question. I mean, it it's important if you want to I guess add if you want to add more I want to say creativity to the soloing, but because you can do a lot of creative things with just a pentatonic uh, major minor runs and stuff like that. But if you ever find, for me, I just felt like I want to just do something more and just add more to it. So soloing helps, or theory helps when it comes to just really understanding what you're doing and where you can add in specifically substitutions, passing chords, and playing the proper modes and scales over the top of those chords. But you don't have to go crazy with it if you're just playing, guitar. I took 4 years of orchestration, and that was only because I was fascinated with the Setzer Orchestra, the band, and I'm like, how do you write for a big band? And then, of course, I'd always loved big band music as a kid because my grandmother and parents would play it as well, along with the 50s stuff. And I wanted to learn how to write for that and write for symphony orchestra because I, as a little kid, I'd always listen to movie soundtracks, mostly John Williams and you know Alan Silvestri and those that kind of stuff. And that kind of took me in the direction of learning how to write, and that theory helped my guitar playing down the road as well because I could understanding these substitutions and understanding how things are voiced and you voice leading from chord chord to chord and you can really just having a good understanding of the modes I think is sufficient and some diminished scales and that sort of thing. So in the middle of a you don't really need theory to know it. Um, there's a great I think he's a great jazz guitar player he's on YouTube, and he had his own um, like video VHS cassette teaching tapes back in the '90s, and his name is Jimmy Bruno, and he had said his thing, and I like his approach to the theory is that what we're really doing is making sounds, and then we're applying the theory to it later, which is backwards, really. So you don't really need the theory. So that's kind of a meandering, long explanation, but I like it because I just wanted to really understand the ins and outs of everything. But is it necessary to be able to play rock, especially rockabilly or rock and roll and even jazz to a degree? No, not really. Back then, back in the early days of jazz and big bands, they didn't think about theory. They were just saying it's one of these and it's one of these. They didn't really, you know, it didn't become so academic, I guess, and a theory applied. Theory was more classical back then, so it didn't get applied to jazz until a little later. But I think it's fascinating, but it's not necessary. I don't think, not for playing at least. I played for years without ever and knowing it. You know, it's great for when you want to create a different, um, take a song and change it up and add more chords to it and stuff. Understanding the, for lack of an a better explanation, that drink that bottle down by the Stray Cats, where and he shows how he goes into changing it and making it, adding all the chords to it, and knowing theory is going to be allow you to do that. If you don't know theory, it's going to be tough to kind of come up with stuff like that that's going to work well. Um, so, but at the end of the day, we're creating sounds, and one of the best, my uh, the jazz guitar player that I took lessons from for a while, the first thing he told me was I had a bunch of charts in my guitar case, and I was playing in a big band at the time, and I was just playing, Freddie Green chopping wood, as they call it. And I had all these other notes and um, all the lead lines and everything. And he said, just throw all that away. He said, music is for the ears, not for the eyes, is what he told me. And I thought, oh, and I kind of really, I like that. So, but I did learn how to read. I'm not a great sight reader, but I can read the notes and write it. But sight reading for guitar is really difficult. It's not like a piano or a horn or something, because you have one, with a horn you're only reading treble clef. With piano you're reading bass. Organ you're reading three clefs. That's insane to me. But with guitar, with piano, or any of those instruments, a middle C is a middle C is a middle C. With a guitar, it's here, it's here, here, it's here. So the same notes are in multiple places. So you not only have to learn where the notes are on the neck and how to read, you have to learn the positioning, what position works better depending on the key that you're playing in. And if the song changes keys, you have to know, okay, it's time to switch to this other position to be able to sight read um, well enough. And it's not common. I mean, there was somebody I was remember some. Yes, yeah, right, exactly. Um, the only problem with tablature is for is it doesn't give you. It can. It depends on how it's written. The stuff I have, I can put the stems in there. It doesn't show you the beats, like, you know, whether it's an eighth note or a quarter note, or they do have tablature with the stems and show that. Maybe I should put that in. I don't know if that would be helpful for anybody, but I don't. I usually don't when I read something based on a tablature, and I listen to it, and then I get the rhythm from what I hear, and then I just use the tablature as the the guide to where it's played or how it's played, and I'll change it around if something's not comfortable for me to play. So I always when I write tablature, I always try to make sure it's comfortable for me to play, and that's the way I would play it. But yeah, but yeah, sight reading for other instruments is I could see where it's a little easier. You only have to worry about one one note at a time. He does stabs with Thames. Yeah, I can do that. I just have to turn it on. Really, that's all I have to do. Let's see. Let me open that Rockabilly Boogie back up. I think if I do this, um, yeah, you just have to hit stems. Oh, it's not showing up. Oh wait, there we go. Boom, there it is. I don't know if that would be more helpful for everyone. It's kind of I might be able to switch the stems down to see how it kind of this looks like a mess with all the stem. Will it work with tab? Oh well, I have to adjust that, but that's fine. If the stems, if you think the stems are helpful, I don't really need think about it. Um, so because I don't really think about it. If that's why I have the notes on the top there, so you can see. You're not reading. You don't have to read the notes, but you can at least say, "Oh, that's an eighth note. That's a triplet. That's whatever." Um, First, you prefer without. Okay, I'll just if the, I prefer it without too because I think it just gets in the way. I just think it looks messy. Um, I could see it if you didn't have the notes up there for rhythm purposes, but that's why I keep the notes up there. So yeah, if the notes are on the top, you can just use that as the rhythm guide, and then you have the thing on the bottom. Yeah. So right, of course, that's what the video helps with as well. Yeah. So you can just follow along, or like I said, you can download the tablature. It's free. I have it. Let's go to. I'm sure you guys know that, but if you go, bring up. This is our website. You can just go the guitar tabs right there. Every video that I have a tab for. The mystery train, I didn't have the tab in the video because I was just starting to do videos and wasn't really sure exactly how to get the tablature into the video yet. And then I figured it out like right after I finished that video. So I said, "Oh, just having the tablature." Yeah, I mean the reason I don't know how helpful it is. I mean, it depends on the song, I guess. Really, the song is complicated enough, then or it's a lot of notes or something. I think it's helpful just to kind of remind me without having to go back and watch the whole video again or something. At least that's for me learning it if I'm learning something from a video. Um, but I had enough people had made a comment saying like, "Where's the tab? Where's the tab?" Where so all right, let's figure this out. Yeah, eventually I'll get over to the. I don't know how helpful this would be either. Is that Guitar Pro video where you can actually sync up your music to the program, and then the playhead will play right along with what you're playing. I don't really need that, but I thought that was kind of neat, but probably an extra headache to go through. Maybe it's easy. I don't know, but I think but it does give me more flexibility. with that program to make, especially like the bend marks and the slides and whether it's a full bend or not. Because with Finale, it doesn't let you manipulate that stuff manually. You have to make sure that the next note above it is going to a full bend. It will automatically put it, and you can't just put a note at the end of a measure going nowhere and just have a full bend. It won't do it. It'll say quarter bend. Why not? It's not tablature friendly. It's not really designed for that. It's really designed for orchestras and jazz bands. So, um, do I have a go-to guitar when I need inspiration? Um, maybe the orange one here. Maybe maybe this guy. It's probably the I've had it for probably the other than my first Strat guitar that I started when I was a kid. That's probably the guitar I've had the longest. So I'm just comfortable with it. It just feels, familiar and that sort of thing. Um, but I try to pick them all up and play different things. It'll give me a little. It does change your inspiration when you play a different guitar. If you play an acoustic guitar, you're going to start thinking like that and thinking about music that fits an acoustic. And if I play the jazz box over there, I'm going to be thinking more along the lines of a jazz type song and soloing and stuff like that. And there's the restrictions because acoustics difficult to bend. Um, I play the telly. I'm going to probably think more along the lines of rock and um, straight rock stuff and country, chicken picking, that kind of thing. Cool. All right. Well, so I'm gonna get to work on those videos. Unfortunately, I have to cut this a little bit shorter today because I gotta head out to a gig. So, and the gig starts at 7, and still gotta load all my gear and get ready to head down there and play a little bit. Not playing guitar today. I'm just playing bass, but playing that doghouse back there. But I am playing a little bit of guitar. I'm playing some acoustic guitar tonight too. So, but just a little pub down in wherever it is, Rhoda. And I don't even know where it is yet. I gotta figure out. I have the address, but I'm not sure what town. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you guys again for showing up and hanging out. And again, we do this doing this every Saturday at 4 o'clock, and I'm gonna try to also do it potentially depending on when the video is released, maybe a little live stream after the video as well, just to talk more in depth about that video. So, and if not, hopefully I'll have that video up next week. Hopefully by Thursday, if not Friday. And either way, see you guys again next week, same time, 4 o'clock next Saturday. All right. I'll see you guys later. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Have a good one. We'll see you next time, guys.